Hey everybody, this is GGB and co-host Poppers, and we're gonna be going over some Friday basketball. Right now, I'm sitting at a lowly 1-3. Although I don't feel horrible about my Monday selection and my Thursday selection, I don't feel bad about my Wednesday selection either. I think Monday was a very neither of them, neither worked. So I mean, it's not like if I wasn't like going in my head, yeah, if I picked something different, it would have worked better. Neither of them worked. So I guess technically Davidson would have been a better bet over Texas, technically speaking, but they both lost. So there's no difference. And then tonight, which is I'm recording this Thursday night, Cal just lost to Arizona State, but it was the closest, I think, game of the four today. So I mean, I don't feel bad about that loss, although I feel angry that Cal didn't pull it off. Well, Wednesday's the one I feel worse about, but I still think that Illinois was a very solid selection because Illinois had been playing phenomenally well up until that point. I was going back and forth between taking Texas over UNC. I should have taken Texas, and it really hurts to be so close to picking the right game, and I picked the wrong one because I just think Illinois is a better team. I have more faith in them, and then they go and they put a stinker out against Baylor in the second half, and I'm just like, ugh. But if I want to get over 500, I have to get this last 3 days right. I'm hoping. I would love to stay over 500. A 4-3 record week 1 would be phenomenal, considering that there were 2 days where there were just not great great basketball games. I'm sorry, they were just not great basketball games. If I could just go 4-3 over this week, I would thank God that I could make it through. So let's go over the Friday games. There are 7 on tap, okay? And I was debating between 2, but I just went with the obvious one here, mainly because I want to keep with this winning record. I don't want to take any chances, the least amount of chances as possible. So let's go over the ones that were just automatically eliminated for me. The 2 4 o'clock games, we had Kennesaw State at Creighton and Detroit Mercy at Michigan State. If you see a team that is from a small conference and they're not consistent playoff teams, like, I mean, VCU is from a small conference, but they're also a very good basketball team normally. They normally put together a solid unit. So I normally don't like to bet against those kind of teams, like VCU. And there's other ones. Gonzaga is from a smaller conference, but we know that Gonzaga is a very good basketball team. There are some exceptions. Like San Francisco and Pepperdine are teams that I would pick to upset people because they looked really good last year. They both almost pulled off huge upsets in the tournament over really good basketball teams, and I just thought they were really good this year. I mean, San Fran beat Virginia in the opener, and I really could see that coming because I thought San Francisco was a very good squad this year. Pepperdine almost beat UCLA, and looking back on it, they probably should have beaten UCLA. I think Pepperdine's a much better team than UCLA is, but like obviously I'm not picking Kennesaw State or Detroit Mercy over these kind of teams. And the third one that I automatically eliminated, these were just automatics that I looked at it and like, okay, I'm not even going to consider them. It's 6 o'clock, Bellarmine at number 9 Duke. So like obviously not going to pick that one as well. So that really leaves about 4 left. And so I just looked at them and I'm like, are any of these teams normally good? So I look at Kent State and Kent State's playing number 15 Virginia and Troy's playing number 17 Texas Tech, and I'm like, yeah, no, I don't quite believe in either of those teams are going to pull off the huge upset. I mean, I hope Troy does. As someone who lives like a few hours drive away from Troy, I would love for them to pull off a huge upset against Texas Tech, but it just doesn't seem like the most realistic option. So that leaves me with 2 games, and I was leaning toward so going back and forth. On Friday, this game started out on Friday that Texas Tech was going to play St. John's, and I was going back and forth between Wisconsin, Marquette, and St. John's, Texas Tech, mainly because Marquette's normally a pretty good basketball team, and so's St. John's. So I went back and forth, and St. John's has looked good to start out the year, but then that game was canceled, so I'm like 100% Marquette, Wisconsin. But then I could not resist myself. Thank God. I don't know why this game was just scheduled, but thank you, basketball gods, for just delivering me a top 25 team that has proven already this week that it shouldn't be a top 25 team against a good Seton Hall team. So we're talking about number 21 Oregon at Seton Hall, and I'd just love to trash the Pac-12 for a couple of seconds. Pac-12 is absolute and utter garbage this year. Just take one team from there and be done. Like, honestly. Oregon's probably the best team in there, and they lost to Missouri. Missouri's one of the worst SEC teams. What are you doing? I mean, the Pac-12, you got to have something competitive. Someone. Arizona State's the only team that I can fully put my support behind. I think they should probably win that conference, mainly because they actually have looked like a somewhat reasonable basketball team. They look somewhat good, and that's really all you need to win the Pac-12, because God, are all the teams over there garbage. It's just absolute and utter garbage. I think there should only be one team in the top 25 next week, and that should be Arizona State. Arizona State should win the conference, mainly because they look good, and Oregon's an absolute travesty. Seton Hall is actually better than the 1-2 record they have. They have a loss to Rhode Island, but everyone who's watched March Madness over the past few years knows that Rhode Island's pretty much a staple. And again, Rhode Island's a team I could pick to beat a top 25 team, mainly because I really do believe in Rhode Island. They are a very good basketball team year in, year out. So it's just, I don't like Oregon. I don't think the Ducks are a good basketball program. I mean, normally they are in the March Madness, so I'll give Oregon that. Normally they do make it to the playoffs, but this year it just doesn't look like their year. They just lost to Missouri. That could just be a one-game fluke, but like, come on. Seton Hall is actually a good basketball team that was in the top 25 last year and probably deserves to be in it again, although they did lose Miles Powell, so I understand why they're not in the top 25. They are 1-2. But if you take away their record and you just look at that basketball team, it's a very good basketball team, very well coached, and I just don't think I can say the same thing about Oregon. This is a team that shouldn't be in the top 25 next week, but luckily they were in the top 25 this week, and they can't be kicked out mid-week, so this is an easy pick for me. Give me Seton Hall to actually Seton Hall's favor here, which makes this so much easier. Seton Hall's favor, everyone. Give me Seton Hall to beat number 21 Oregon.